Hello everybody, this is Douglas with Other Than Intended Purpose. Jack's behind the camera and Blue's hiding because he doesn't like to be on camera. Today we're going to talk about a bigger knife. More often than not, when I'm talking about a field knife, even if I'm not using this one as my example, this is the size I generally talk about. Now I generally prefer something between a 4 and a 6-inch blade. 4 and 5.5 is better. This, in my opinion, is a primary field knife. There is a mentality that I don't subscribe to, and I am not saying it's wrong, but it's the one tool option people. And they think that you should have a knife that is your primary field knife and a machete and an axe and a self-defense weapon and and in all honesty, the closest thing I have to that is my BK9, and I don't consider it to be the one tool option because while you can technically do the smaller stuff with it, it's unwieldy. And even in my BK9 rig, move that out of the way, I don't need it. In my BK9 rig, BK9, that's a piece of steel right there. I keep a smaller knife to do the detailed stuff, to do the stuff that would be unwieldy with this.
We are right next to Eureka City Zoo.
And there's a donkey over there making an ass of himself. Anyway, moving right along. Okay, anybody that's still here listening to me after that?
Comment your favorite type of berry if you're still here.
This knife, late last year, I got a package from another YouTuber, and I told him that I would not use his name because I don't want him being flooded with, can I have stuff too? I had sent him a request to borrow a couple of the things that he had because I couldn't afford them and I wanted to do videos on them, and I would send them back. And instead, he sent me some things, and this was in that package. And he said, no, don't send them back, keep them, this is a gift. It's like, wow, I'm amazed. There are quite a few things that I would say, oh, well, this came in that package, because there was a lot of stuff in that package, including this backpack, which is how I got everything here today for the video. But today we're talking about this. This is the smaller end of the one tool option crowd knife. This is still small enough you can do more detailed work, but it is more blade than I consider to be my primary belt knife. Ooh, I got a nick in the blade. I was playing with it the other day ago. No, I wasn't playing with it. It's a tool. It's not a toy. This is the Joker Nomad 6.5. And this is a beastly piece of steel. It is Bowler N65 695. Dang it. One of these days, my head and my mouth will be on the same page, and I'll probably explode. This is Bowler N695 steel. Bowler does a lot of proprietary steels, and then they let people use them. This is a mean, beastly chunk of steel that is 0.19 of an inch thick. The blade is actually 6.75 inches long. I don't know why they call it a 6.5 and then have 6.75 as the blade length, but it's their knife. They can do whatever they want. The handle is 4.75 inches. Obviously, it is a drop point. This is a 12.7 ounce knife. And with this, it has a bit of a belly swell down here. It's got some forward weight to it. The length of this plus minus, it gives it forward weight. That is why I have kept the lanyard on it. I don't often keep lanyards if they come to me with them or put them on. This one came with one, I left it on. Because if you're going to chop with this, you want to hook it on your thumb, bring it around, no, the other way around. Hook it on your thumb, bring it around your hand into your palm, so that if you're chopping with it, it cannot come out of your hand. Okay, doing this at my camera, and I can't afford to buy a new camera. That is not coming out of my hand at all. Okay, if I let go of it, it's not coming out of my hand. But if you are looking for a one-tool option, you want to be able to process firewood, you want to be able to, well, with this I can birdmouth down or rosebud down a tree that is 5 or 6 inches in diameter. With this I could do a tree that is 7 or 8 inches in diameter. I could cross baton this in to cut and huge like log cabin notches out if I needed to. With the thickness of this, you don't need to be as concerned about lateral pressures if you're having to baton in and try to snap pieces out. The downside to one this big is if you're trying to do very small detail work. Where did I put that stick? I lost my stick. I have a stick. Did you know that the stick is one of the most used tools in the history of man? A lot of things that you use today are variations of a stick. But anyway, if you're trying to come in here and do a very small notch where you're going to rock in, wow, that went in really nice, and say do a 7 notch. Okay, I can do that, but I run the risk of overcutting it simply because I am working with a really big piece of steel. And if I'm trying to undercut, the very fine cut on that is just a little bit awkward. Whereas the exact same cut with a smaller knife that's a lot smoother of a cut to make, simply because I'm working with something that's more balanced to my cutting point. I'm cutting back here. I don't need all the weight out on this end. I can use that out there, but that gets awkward just because leverage. So for small cuts, I like using right up next to the sharpening choil, but you get a cleaner overall cut with a smaller knife. But you can do that same notch with the one tool option. The plus side to that is, if you come up against something that you can't do with a 5-inch knife, having an almost 7-inch knife, that would be silly. That's just silly. Let's put that there we go. That was not going to lock in there at all. The plus side to having something this big, if you come up against a task that your 5-inch knife would struggle with or even can't do, you've got 1 3/4 more of blade on this. You've got substantially more weight. Like I said, this is a 12.7 ounce knife. That's not including the sheath that does come with a fire steel on it. Actually, the fire steel is matching micarta and matching orange stripe. But using this does have its pluses. Carrying this does have its pluses. You don't have to carry 2 knives, two belt knives. you don't have to carry as much stuff, but you're carrying more weight in this. And the smaller the task you're trying to do, the harder the task is going to be if you're using this. Can you go into my satchel, the Pathfinder satchel, and get the toothpicks? I have been told that I use my bob too much, so I'm going to actually pull out my LT right for this one. I am putting myself on blast here because I'm doing something that has a decent possibility of failure. With a small, what I consider to be a primary
Hand me the
bush.
toothpick first, just as a...
It's a toothpick. They know what a toothpick looks like.
Yes, but you haven't done anything to it yet. And there's the proof.
Okay, with this, I can come in here. Oops, I lost that one. Lost that one too. Damn it. Are we not going to be able to do this today?
Try the other toothpick, because the grain might be fucked.
Yeah, this one's got very... It's trying to cut right through it. I'll pull me another one out. I lost another one. There we go. There we go. Remind me, what are you doing?
Checking the grain on some of these, because some of these toothpicks are damn near cross-grained.
Yeah, I think that's what was wrong with that one, was I was only getting tiny little pieces off of it. But take that up there. Okay, that was done with this. Now, I stropped both of these last night in preparation for this. So they are sharp. The curls on this are thicker. They don't curl as much, and if you look at it really close, I damn near cut through that twice from two different directions. So you can do the work with these, but hold those up side by side. Look how much more delicate the feathers are on the Bushcrafter versus the Nomad. And don't break those though, I want to keep them, I gotta get the pictures of the knife with them. And I have a little medicine vial at home full of toothpicks that are shaved. Each time, if you ever see me posting a picture of a feather stick with a knife, that knife did that feather stick every single time. But back to this. If you are looking for a beast knife, not a very delicate knife or a agile knife, but a beastly knife, you will see this again in the future. We're going to be doing some overnighters here this summer, and I'll probably take this for those.
Weather and health permitting.
Yeah. But you are looking at a very thick, very strong single piece of steel. Comes all the way down. It's full tang. It's got a little bit of a brain crusher here at the bottom for breaking open nuts and softening up tinder. Comes in a really nice leather sheath. There is an insert in the sheath so that it's not cutting through. but when it goes in, it seats really, really well. It's not coming out. There's a little bit of rattle because of that insert, but that's still not coming out at all. And like I said, it came with the fire steel, and it's a really decent fire steel. It's been used a few times, but it's still good. You can get this size steel, you can get hundreds of fires out of. And this summer we will be having a video on how to start fires. I have been told by a couple people they don't know how to use a ferro rod. As I've said before, the best tools in the world don't do you any good if you don't know how to use them. And there is, very specifically, a skill involved in getting your ferro rod to throw some sparks. There was a little oxidation on it that I had to get through. We now have a shiny spot where it was sparking. That they do oxidize a little bit, and that is almost the same as the black coating that comes on them as to, preventing it from sparking. But it's thin, so it's really easy to scratch off, as you saw. But these sheaths are extremely well made. It's double stitched. There is a drain hole at the bottom. They are just really, really well made. And the knife itself, while I would want something a little more agile for some things, if I had to only have one knife and I was going to be in a situation where my knife was going to build my shelter, my knife was going to build my fire, traps, weapons, take care of my food, I would feel very comfortable entering the woods with no other knife but this one. That being said, I will never enter the woods with only one knife because I roll down the street with a knife in my pocket, a knife in my jacket, 2 Leatherman tools, and a neck knife. So I'm never going to be a one knife person just because, well, I like different size and types of knives for different purposes. But if I could only have one, I would have one like this. But if you are going to have something like this and intend to use it for chopping, put a lanyard on it. And I have seen people put their hands through a lanyard and grab it. And the problem with that is it can come off. It's not locking in, it's just there. Also, even if it doesn't come off, if it comes loose, it's now swinging back towards your body with the sharp edge. When you put the lanyard on, you put your thumb through it, come around from the back, and bring it into your hand that way. It can't go anywhere. You have got it locked. Dangerous to the camera proof. Anyway, have a good day. Get out in the woods. Take your equipment with you. The best equipment in the world doesn't do you any good if you can't use it. Practice your stuff. Enjoy the outdoors. And
Make sure the lanyard fits your hand.
And take the Flight of the Valkyries with you.